Welcome back to Hardball. And the latest pollster.com, that's the nationwide average of polling, shows Barack Obama leading John McCain by 5 points nationally. And more importantly, it seems like it's opening up there. A new Time magazine poll now shows Barack also leading McCain by 50 to 43 among likely voters, a 7-point edge. That was before the convention. That was 5. Right now, a poll by the Associated Press also has Obama up by 7 points, 48-41. And a new Pew Research Center poll finds Obama leading McCain 49-43. It's all interesting, guys. We have joining us Charlie Cook right now on our own. Chuck Todd. Chuck's out in St. Louis already getting ready for the big debate tomorrow night. Chuck, you first. What do you make of these polls? Is this the economic backdrop that's helping Barack?
Well, I think it's a combination of the economic backdrop and the debate. He didn't have a bad debate performance. I think while he was judged as not winning that debate, I think nobody thought he lost it, but nobody thought he won it going away either, that it was somewhat of a draw. I think when you combine it with the economic stuff, he presented himself to a lot of voters, it looks like, as a plausible president. Because you're seeing this is a shift. It was a drift before the debate. This seems to be a steady movement now. He's ahead in pretty much every swing state where there has been a reasonably good poll. There's not a lot of good state polling that goes on these days. But even in the reasonably good ones, you're seeing Obama, and in some of these states, with a substantial lead.
Charlie.
When you're ahead nationally by 4, 5, 6, 7 points, like Obama appears to be now, that means that, just as Chuck said, in the swing states, you're starting to pull ahead. There is a little bit of a lag effect where the national data, we see this real time. It takes a few days for state polls to come in. But
I've had a theory, guys, that you first, Chuck, that we have to look at 2 steps. One is people get used to one of the 2 candidates, McCain or Barack Obama, leading for a while. Then let that gel in their head and say, is this okay? Is it okay with me if this guy wins? And are we going to see that period of testing now the next week or 2? People say, yeah, Obama's ahead. I can live with that or I can't live with that. Is there going to be that kind of reaction? Or that's the way I'm looking at it. What do you think?
I think it's possible that the next 2 debates now are about voters looking at him and judging whether he's ready to be a president, if he's not just ready to be president, whether they're comfortable with the idea of a President Obama. You know, if the first debate was about seeing if he was ready to be on stage with McCain, these next 2, maybe viewers are looking at him that way. But it's funny, every time, think about the last 34 days. In the last 34 days, we've seen this financial crisis. We had 2 natural disasters hit the Gulf Coast. We've had 2 convention speeches, a naming of, the Sarah Palin boomlet. A lot of stuff happened in 34 days, and we had a huge roller coaster. I think the likelihood of a roller coaster effect in the next 34 is there. But I tell you, McCain can't let Obama keep getting ahead too much in some of these states, because he's now defending North Carolina. He's now defending Indiana. These aren't just the battleground states that he thought he'd be dealing with. New states are coming into the battleground. That's got to scare the McCain campaign.
So we're looking at the last month of testing, and we're saying now that the polls are showing Barack ahead. Everybody who's watching this show, who pays attention, knows he's ahead. Now they're saying, okay or not okay. Are we able to live with a President Obama, this fellow being our next president?
I think that first debate was pretty key. I mean, first of all, that was supposed to be the foreign policy debate. That was where McCain had the home court advantage. Now, half the debate wasn't about foreign policy, but Obama did fine, didn't screw up. That was McCain's opportunity. That was where McCain needed to break through. Now it's moving on to Obama's territory. And the fact is, if people are thinking about the economy, if they're focused on the economy, that's an election that John McCain almost cannot win. It's got to go back to national security, and right now that's not where it is.
I'm looking at the women here, guys. Look at the women. We talked a lot for weeks about where the Hillary voter would be so strong for Hillary and really angry about the fact that Hillary lost the nomination. Fairly or not, we can argue about the rules. People do argue about it. Look at these numbers now, however. Now, 55 to 38 among all women. Charlie?
Yeah,
compared to 49-39. Look at that spread, how it's opening up. 17 points.
I don't think Obama's got 55 with women. It's more like the Gallup poll, like 52-53, maybe 13 points ahead. But he was running with like 49%.
But that's better than Kerry did.
Oh, yeah, no. He was getting about 49%. The last 2 weeks, he's been up at 52-53.
Is that the coming home of Hillary people to the Democratic Party?
Well, and I think it's just there's movement across the board. You look at every group, and
is
there's
it a
movement.
negative Sarah Palin? I guess tomorrow night we're all going to see Sarah Palin for good or for evil, whether she's good or not, but is she not holding the vote that she picked up right after the Republican convention? Chuck?
I don't think she's holding that vote, and I think you're right. tomorrow's it for her. Tomorrow is her chance to prove that she belongs on stage as one of the 4 principals in this campaign. And it's also, by the way, tomorrow's about saving her national persona for good. I mean, she is on the verge of becoming Dan Quayleized or Spiro Agnew'd, and that tomorrow night's about stopping that. It's not about surpassing artificially low expectations. It's about looking like a plausible national figure, political figure again. And it's a big challenge that she has ahead of her. And we've seen her debate. I think we know that she can be a good debater.
And that strikes to the heart of John McCain's judgment. If people don't think she measures up, then the focus goes back. On the big decision, the one big decision that John McCain had this year, did he make the right call or the wrong call? And that's what tomorrow night decides.
And you've got all those conservative columnists and thinkers out there who are saying he made the wrong call.